Welcome to the Bold and Determined Podcast with your man Victor Pride. And right here on the Podcast for Winners, we're bringing you motivation and mindset for the killers and real dealers, the makers and the takers, the winners and the grinners, and goddamn, even the sinners too. Let's get started. Buenos dias, amigos. Welcome back to another edition of the Bold and Determined Podcast with your man Victor Pride. Today I'm coming at you from sunny South America, and it's a bit too sunny for me if I'm being honest. The strange thing about this place is that I run into so many Germans, so many white people, but white people that are different from what I'm used to. But that's neither here nor there, not important in the slightest. What is important is that today we're going to get into some very, very deep topics. And I'll tell you what, I would not be surprised if I lost a lot of listeners and a lot of viewers and a lot of readers today. And I would not blame them because they're scared. People are scared to say the truth, and they're scared to hear the truth. And it is what it is. People are scared. So today I'm going to be spitting some truths at you that might be a little bit difficult to handle. And might get a few people who are going to say, Vaya con Dios. And to those people, I must say, Vaya con Diablos to you. If you are scared at this topic, nothing can be done for you. And if you want to know, before we get into today's show, if you want to know who rules over you, learn who you cannot criticize. Rap Rover asks, what is the left or the right? How to learn more about them and what are the best sources? This is a great question. This is a really great question. I get a lot of questions that are not great. And an example of a question that is not great has a ton of backstory that does not matter. This man got right to the heart of the question. What is the left and what is the right? Why do they matter? So kudos for the great question. Let's see if we can answer it. This question, as well as the previous question, could cover several 1,000 hours of the podcast, but we've got to get through this because I had a lot of great questions today that I do want to get to. So what is the left and what is the right? The left are the useful idiots of the people we just spoke about. The left are the people who have been totally subverted mentally. The left are the people who have been flipped upside down. Feminists, social justice warriors, liberals. These are the people who celebrate ugliness. They hate beauty and they celebrate ugliness. You ever notice a girl could be nice and pretty and have a nice smile? She gets into feminism, she turns physically ugly. That's what happens to these people. They celebrate ugliness. Their soul dies inside. Basically, these people sell their souls to the devil without understanding it. They let these fancy words like equality come into their brain. These words poison them. These fake words poison their minds. And in their minds, turn poisonous, turn devilish. These are the people who say, yeah, bring in all the immigrants and fuck the people who live here. Fuck all of our people. Bring in the immigrants because they want to kill our way of life. That's what the left is. That's what a leftist is. Somebody who wants to kill our way of life. Doesn't matter if they're Jew, white, black, brown, Asian. But most leftists are white. And these people just degenerate into filth and ugliness. These are your degenerates, your homosexuals, your prostitutes, your females who get abortions. Ugly, ugly people. The ugly people of society. The very ugly people of society. And they hate beauty. That's the thing that leftists hate. They hate beauty. And they want to destroy beauty. That's what a leftist is. Why do they want to destroy beauty? That's the virus. That's the mental virus that they're afflicted with. It is a mental virus. They do become mentally ill when they get into feminism, social justice, equality of the races. They become mentally ill. And it's very apparent to see if you just sit back and watch these people. You will see they are mentally ill. Basically, they are satanic. They are the opposite of good. God is good, Satan is bad. They are satanic. The right, on the other hand, the right is for protection of the family, protection of family values, protection of the culture, protection of the society. They don't want unchecked immigration into their country. The right is also a bunch of worthless cowards because they bow down to words like racist and anti-Semitic and anti-woman or whatever the fuck that word is. So they let these nonsense gobbledygook words affect them. And because these words affect the people on the right who are for protection of the society and protection of the people, because they let these dumb, meaningless words affect them, they are in effect leftists. So in the United States, in Europe, Everybody is in effect a leftist because they let these words affect them to the point that they can do nothing to stop the massive degeneration of society and the massive influx of non-white immigrants into white countries. I was in Spain just a week ago. I was in Spain. Guess what you see on the streets of Spain everywhere? Black male immigrants from Africa. What's the problem with that? Here's the problem with that. They're not Spanish. They're not European. They don't speak the language. They don't belong there. They don't work there. They come there illegally. They take money from the government. That's right. Your government gives them money to come there. Oh, but they're migrants, so they're just coming there to work, right? Wrong. They don't work. They sit on the street all day and they be menacing. That's what they do. They sit on the street all day and they be menacing. Well, they're just leaving a war-torn country and all that. Okay, if they're leaving a war-torn country, why is it 99% men of fighting age who are coming to Europe? Where are the women and the children? You're telling me these people left their women and their children in a war-torn country and they came to Europe to sit there and be menacing all day and they're in prime fighting age? No. It is an invasion, plain and simple. They are there to outbreed the European population because they are trying to kill, literally trying to kill the white people, trying to kill the white population. They're doing it by a bunch of different means. They're doing it with the mental virus. They're doing it by bringing in thousands and thousands of immigrants. Listen, there is no such thing as magic dirt. Spain is not a great country because it's founded on magic dirt. Spain is a great country because it's founded by the Spanish. When you replace the Spanish people, that great country goes away. America is a great country because it was founded by white European men. When you replace those men, the great country goes away. They are trying to destroy all of our countries. They are trying to kill us and replace us. Simple as that. And the powers that be, the Kakistocracy, at the top of the pyramid, these are not white people. Let's get into some more fun topics than this, friends. Frank asks us, concerning whites, the Bible, and history. A question, do you think that Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones or Star Trek are historically accurate? These elaborate stories come with complex characters, a complete history, and multiple languages. Is it unconceivable that our history was created the same way from scratch and concocted just around a few artifacts? Ooh, that is a great question. And history is a fun study of mine. I do love to just sit around and study history, read about history, watch YouTube videos about history. And it's becoming increasingly clear that our history has been completely hidden from us. And in fact, most of our history has been burned. And this is something that I noticed when I was in Vietnam. I went to visit an old Vietnamese heritage site called My Son. And My Son was a bunch of temples from the earlier era. It's very beautiful, and you could see the contrast between the old temples and the way that the modern Vietnamese live. And it's way, way different. They had much more capability and technology in the past. You could see the dirty shack they made out of trash today right next to these temples, basically, or these pyramids. But these pyramids had been blown to smithereens in the Vietnam War. Our fighter jets went there and boom, 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 destroyed them. And this is happening with basically all of the history, all of our history. It's being destroyed and rewritten. So we cannot trust a history book any more than we can trust Channel 5 news today. Today we know that news is fake. It's fake news. It's all a story concocted to sell us to make us feel bad and to make us let immigrants come in and to give up our way of life and to not have children. That's what they want. So that is what our news is reflecting, their desire to get us to basically die. Now, history is a lot like our news today. It's totally fake. It's a total fabrication. We know that it's a fabrication because we know that in the past, all of the history books were burned after they were rewritten by the Jesuit priests. That's right. They rewrote our history books by hand and made corrections where they wanted to make corrections. Then they burned the originals. So, yeah, history is a farce, and that's why we don't know who we are. That's why we can't remember. Why can't we remember who we are and where we come from? How are we so degraded and so demoralized that we can't even remember that we are a people, we are a nation, we have a past, and we have a future? Why are we giving up our future? Something to think about. C. Roy asks, someone else asked it once, but I want to re-ask it. What are your thoughts? What are your opinions on Jesus, his teachings, things you agree and disagree with? Okay, Jesus is also a Trojan horse. Ooh, I really don't want to get too much into this, but Jesus is a Trojan horse. In a way. Let me restate that. The Bible is a Trojan horse. The Christian religion is a Trojan horse. They pretend it's going to give you salvation. What it does is give you slavery. The Christian religions give you slavery. They don't give you salvation. Salvation comes from within. Salvation comes from within. If you rely on salvation from without, you will never get it. You will never receive it. Salvation comes from within. And the Bible is written in two ways. There is a simple meaning, which is the literal meaning, and then there is a hidden meaning or an esoteric meaning of the Bible. The literal meaning of the Bible and Jesus is that Jesus was a real person. He came down. He saved you somehow by dying, whatever the fuck that means. And then just believe in Jesus and you'll be saved. Don't do anything in this world. Wait until the next world. Just be a meek and weak slave in this world and wait until the next world. The belief in Jesus as your Savior is a belief in the slave morality. The Bible makes you a slave if you believe it literally. However, if you dive deeper into the Bible, if you dive deeper into Jesus, you will understand one thing that is very, very important to you, or should be very important to you. Jesus is not an outside influence. Jesus is not an outside person. Jesus is, in fact, you. You are Jesus. This is why you relate so well to the character of Jesus, because it is not an outside person. It is you. It is your inner ability to connect with the light, to connect with the source of where we all came from. So when you hear crazy people that have this mental problem where they say, oh, I'm Jesus, or I'm Buddha, or I'm God, these people actually are correct because all people in the world are Jesus. Jesus is a metaphor for you and I, for our distinct ability, our innate ability that is being blocked. Jesus is you and I, always has been, not some outside influence. And until you realize that you have the power of salvation, you have the power to save yourself, you have more power than you possibly know. If you are in this world, you are powerful beyond any definition because you are in fact a son or a daughter of the Creator. You are Jesus. All characters in the Bible are metaphors. We are all Jesus. We are all Moses. We are all Mary Magdalene. All of us. So that's what I think about Jesus. Prasant asks, I have a question on your race. I'm an Indian man and I have always gotten along well with white people. I actually relate better to them than most of the lower caste Indians who are filthy, trashy, and Dravidian. My family members, some could pass as white, as part of the Brahmin or priest caste. What is the real truth about whether the white man has helped or hindered society? Stefan Molyneux says whites have brought a lot of prosperity and infrastructure to the colonies during British rule and that people were benefited even today. I can see how many modern comforts are white deprived or white derived, and I have much gratitude to the whites and generally like them as a people. On the other hand, you believe white colonialism robbed India and other countries of treasures, and this is true too. Some brain-dead whites think that India was always a country of dirty street shooters, and I assure you it wasn't. Mohenjo-daro was the world's first plumbing system. India was spiritually rich, and people were very vibrant and healthy. Then British colonialists destroyed the native medicine system developed by genius sages called Ayurveda. And with Zionist backers flooded opium and big pharma into India. I hate the anti-white agenda of today, but also feel whites are pretentious in thinking they can fight nature. Whites seem to have little respect for subtle metaphysical laws and traditional wisdom, and they are stupid enough to keep sending millions of dollars to Africa in aid, which is causing the population there to swell. Africa is an impending disaster, a population nightmare. Like Ramsey Paul says, it is white aid that caused this. Without artificial white aid, the population would have been curbed by nature. Just wanted your thoughts. Great blog, and you have many fans in India. We are a fan of your pro-Aryan, pro-traditional, pro-masculine writing that inspires many young men, and my sons are reading you too. Okay, great question. Great comments. Yes, the white man did go to India and steal a bunch of things, but they also gave them infrastructure. However, white man is very arrogant and believes that all the world should be like the white man, which is not how the world should be. So white man is very, very arrogant, very, very appallingly arrogant, and thinks that everybody's equal and everybody can be just like us if they try really hard. Well, guess what? Our societies work for us because we're all the same. But when we export our society to, say, India, it doesn't work for them. That's not how those people should live. So in the past, they had a much better life in the past. They would have their family, their own cows and goats and whatever they had, their own food, their own way of life. When we bring our way of life to these people who do not need to live in our way of life, we bring them crushing poverty that they did not have before. Poverty cannot exist without civilization. Without our style of civilization in the third world, poverty cannot exist. If you live in the jungle, and you have all you need. If the jungle provides everything you need, you do not live in poverty. You live in wealth. You live in abundance. When we bring our way of life, we bring scarcity. And these people are not mentally set up to live the way we live. We cannot export our culture to all places in the world because they are not meant to live the way that we live. What works for us does not work for all people in the world. That's what white people have to understand. What works for us does not work for all people in the world. That should be plainly evident that the only first world countries are white countries. Our way of life works great for us. Let other people be. Let them live the way they want to live. Simple as that. Jack asks, "Hey Vic, I finally found a girl that matches my criteria. She's cute, shy, has no BS friends, doesn't party, drink, or smoke, and has a cute face. She's Italian. The only downside is that she is really slender and doesn't have the body type I prefer. What is your take on this? I'm really torn because I don't think it's likely to find a similar girl like this in the West." Okay, if she doesn't have the body type you prefer, because she's too slender, feed her. Feed her. Build her up. If she's got all the right ingredients, which you said she does, if she's got all the right ingredients, keep her around and feed her. You have to think long term. Long term. She doesn't have the body type you prefer. So what? So what? She's got every other quality that's going to help you build a nice family. That's what it's all about. Bringing life into this world. If she's got all the qualities that can do that and help you bring life into this world, but if she doesn't have the body type you prefer, so what? Feed her if she's too slender. Encourage her to eat. Hey, babe, eat some more. Go ahead, eat some more. Have some more pasta. Feed her and count your lucky stars. Roger asks, "Hey Vic, it was interesting how you were saying that the right wing are more prone to have kids with people from other backgrounds compared to the left, and this may be true. I'm a far right advocate and I have an Asian girlfriend. Why is this? I still cannot put my finger on it." Okay, number one, stop saying the word kids. Kids is a child goat, not a person. All right, the word is children. Children is our word. Kids are for goats. The word is children. So he's a far right advocate and he has an Asian girlfriend. Why is this? It's very, very simple. Discrimination is another way of saying direct experience. The only people who know to discriminate are people who have direct experience with other races. The people who are the least racist in the world are the people who have never experienced other races. The white liberals who live in white cities are the least racist people in the world because they have no direct experience with other races. When you have experience with other races, your mind opens up and you start to say, oh my goodness, I have my own race, my own culture that needs to be protected. When you don't have the experience with other races, you're a stupid, stupid liberal who has no idea about the other races in the world. And you have no idea that in fact other races hate white people. Hate white people with the passion. Want to kill white people. You start to understand that when you spend time around other races. So that is why a lot of the right-wingers have different color girlfriends, because these are the people who have spent time among other races. It is only when you spend time among other races that your mind opens up. People notoriously go to prison non-racist and they come out of prison racist because they're forced to spend time with other races. Until you spend time with other races, you are just a dumb fuck. Everybody's just the same. Everybody's equal liberal. And that is why all of the left-wingers are married with other white people. Because they live and they stay among white people. They are only around white people. That's all they know. Because all the white people around them are all the same. They believe that all other people are the same. They think that all people who dislike other races or discriminate against other races are bad. No, dumb fuck. Discrimination is another way of saying direct personal experience. And also, when you open up to the world, you don't really like white women anymore. Let's just be real. White women as girlfriends, as wives, not the best. James asks, hey Victor, I have a loving girlfriend who is a good girl, but I have a strong desire for the sluts that I see every day. This desire is even stronger now that I have given up porn and masturbation. Do you think that this desire comes from social conditioning, and how do I eliminate it? Okay, this desire is perfectly natural because as a man, you want to impregnate every young nubile female that you see. It is our driving nature. Nothing wrong with it. What you want to do is redirect this energy. So, does this come from social conditioning? A little bit. It is your innate and natural desire to impregnate females. That is innate in us. It's never going to go away. However, social conditioning has ramped this up to an insane level because They want you focused on the sex, but never on the after effects of the sex, which is children. They don't want you to have children, but they do want you to be sex obsessed. And the more sex obsessed you are, the less likely you are to have children. Because the more sex obsessed you are, the more you're going to take active measures to wear condoms or pull out or even kill the baby via abortion. So what you want to do, this is a great thing to have. This is a great thing to have. Channel this desire into something bigger. Channel this desire into a bigger fire. Channel this desire into building a family or building a business or building something great in this world. It is all about creation. You have this desire for sluts because you want to create life. This desire is for creation. So use this desire and create something. Luke asks, Vic, how can one be selfish and selfless at the same time? Selfless as in giving oneself and heart fully like Jesus did, and selfish as in maintaining you and getting what you want? That's a great question, and the answer is quite simple. The selfish people are often doing what's best for the world, because what is best for you is often what is best for the rest of the world. When you are selfless, you do what is not in your best interest, and what is not in your best interest is also not in the best interest of the people around you. For example, a weakling husband, a pussy-whipped husband, a cuckolded husband thinks he's being selfless by giving the wife everything she asks for. Actually, what she's doing, she's pushing you so that you can show strength, so that you can push back, and so that you can lead her. In the mind, though, you think, I'll just be selfless and give her everything she wants. When you do that, you make her miserable and you make yourself miserable. When you stand your ground, when you say what is acceptable and what is not acceptable, when you speak the truth, no matter what, when you selfishly speak the truth, no matter what, you do the best for all people involved. All people involved. And all people respect you when you speak the truth. When you're just a weakling and you're selfless and you say, yeah, I guess, okay, I guess, we could do that. It's no problem. Everybody hates you and you make everybody miserable. When you are selfish and you go after what you are after with no apologies, you make everybody's lives around you better because you're an inspiration for them. You don't make them miserable with your pathetic weakness. Bill asks, what are the steps to optimal health, mental clarity, and abundant energy? How can a man become more centered and grounded? That's a great question. The answer is go into monk mode. Buy the monk mode program, go into monk mode. There is nothing on the face of this earth that will help you be more centered, more clear in the mind, more energetic, and healthier than monk mode. It is a program that is beyond anything in this world. Monk mode works very well, very, very well. Buy the ebook, go into monk mode for 30 days. If it doesn't work, ask for a refund and you'll get it. Ask for a refund within 60 days, you'll get it. The program works, I guarantee it. Go into monk mode. If you want abundant energy, abundant mental clarity, go into monk mode. Simple as that. Speaking of monk mode, Nick Haygood says this. Hello, Victor. I want to say thank you for monk mode. The program is incredible. The dopamine fast was the most challenging part. During the first few days, you feel like you're going crazy. Then the clarity and focus hit you like a shot of adrenaline around 2 weeks in. I realized it was time to kill my old brand and to start a new one with all the knowledge I've obtained over the past few years. I realized it was time to kill a few demons if I was going to continue on the path of destiny. My personal training business is doing phenomenal, and I'm using my renewed clarity to build up the new brand and blog. I highly recommend monk mode to anyone who wants to rediscover their clarity of purpose. Out through the bullshit if you want to see the truth. Thanks again for yet another great work of art. Ooh. Bill, who asked the previous question, also asked, what are the best books on nutrition, health, and bodybuilding? The best books on nutrition are Nutrition and Physical Degeneration by Weston A. Price. And the next best book on nutrition is not even a book at all. It's a collection of free writings called The Bearer's Words of Wisdom. I will link both of those in the article. The best books on bodybuilding are Body of a Spartan, Becoming the Bull by John Doe Bodybuilding, No Bullshit Bodybuilding by John Doe Bodybuilding. Those are the 3 best books on bodybuilding. Those are linked in the article. Peter asks, my wife said I used to be more of a man when we first started dating. Sex was good, we had a lot of fun together, and I knew she was loyal. Fast forward 10 years and now things are not so hot. How can I regain what was lost? Okay, you can stop being a pussy. You can stop giving in to the wife, and you can start being a leader. You can start being a man. You can start being a boss. That's what you have to be. If you want to be a man in a happy relationship, you must be the boss. If you let the wife be the boss, that makes you her bitch. Nobody's happy in that situation. The wife is not happy to be the boss, and the man is not happy to be the boss. You think you're being a good guy. Happy wife, happy life, except nobody's happy in that situation. The female is under the male. Always, this is the law of nature. The male dominates the female. And when the female dominates the male, everybody is unhappy. You want to be happy? Dominate the bitch. Tim Gilleen asks, hey Vic, you've been mentioning the lack of good blogs lately, and we are all aware that social media addiction is a significant contributor to the decline. Many people like conservatives, Republicans, and libertarians are, however, getting targeted and banned in droves from these social media platforms as they do not adhere to the politically correct leftist narrative. This further fuels a slowly growing anti-social media movement where people are starting to realize that social media is poison to the soul. With that in mind, do you think that there is a renaissance period for blogs on the horizon, or will podcasts and YouTube vlogs completely take over? Okay, to answer your last question first, neither of those things are going to happen. But is there going to be a renaissance of good blogs because all the conservatives are getting kicked off of Twitter? No, because the conservatives were never good bloggers in the first place. The crazy thing about artists is that most of them are liberals or leftists. Most of the creative people in the world are leftists for whatever reason, one reason or another. Most of them are leftists. I have not personally seen a great work of art from a conservative. Conservative is very frightened, I think. They're frightened of doing anything new. So it's going to be very difficult to create a great piece of art if you're frightened of doing anything new. So many people might believe that I'm a conservative, but I'm not. I'm not a conservative, nor am I a leftist. I'm on the outside looking in. And in fact, I'm somewhere right in the middle. Actually, even though people think I'm very extreme, I'm right in the middle. Some issues I'm to the left, some issues I'm to the right. However, I don't subscribe to any of them. I don't call myself a Republican, a conservative, a liberal, a leftist. I'm none of that bullshit. When you label yourself, you put yourself in a box. I'm outside the box, looking into the box. So I do not think there's going to be a renaissance of good blogs because people are too obsessed with social media. This man talked about all of the conservatives being banned from social media, and that's true, but they're still obsessed with social media. That's the problem. You're not going to create any great art if you're still obsessed with social media. You have to let social media wash away from your mind. You have to not be obsessed with social media anymore and not care. If I was banned from social media, I wouldn't care because I don't use it. I don't care at all. These people care too much, just like women. And one thing I've noticed about conservatives, Republicans, they're obsessed with popular culture. They'll tell you who the famous female vocal singer is. They know all of these people. They know all of the pop culture singers. They know everything that Britney Spears did and whoever else. I don't know these people, but they know all of these people. So no, just because these people are getting kicked off of Twitter doesn't mean there's going to be a renaissance of good blogs because these people never did great art in the first place. Sam asks, what do you advise a guy who is tempted to masturbate during the middle of the night while in bed? It's hard to do 100 push-ups then, so what other strategies can be used to get the mind on something else and off the sex fantasy? It's all in the mind, fella. It's all in the mind. The number one thing you want to do is tire yourself out during the day. If you go to bed at night and you're not tired and you're just sitting there, well, guess what's going to happen? Duh. Tire yourself out during the day. Go work out. Do physical work. Actually do something during the day. When my head hits the pillow at night, I'm out like a light. Out like a light. Another thing you want to do is stop thinking about it. You control your thoughts. You control your own thoughts. You control what you think about. It is not random that you obsess on these thoughts. You are the one obsessing on these thoughts. Just stop thinking the thoughts. Think about something else. It is really very simple. Just stop thinking about it. Choose to think about something else. Choose not to do it. Choose to stop being obsessed with that. Simple as that. Also go into monk mode. Jason asks, Vic, I'm not new to Bold and Determined, but I've been rewired because of your podcast series. I have a pretty decent website-based blog in Latin America. I started mainly because it was fun. Never really looked at it as a business venture. However, I am in the position to go full-blown at it. It is heavily traffic-driven by YouTube, though. My question is, could blogging suffice nowadays, or do you feel it is a necessity to have more of a dual platform such as a blog and a podcast or a blog and YouTube? Also, I'm now selling my time providing services. I wonder if dropping an ebook or course will work in a Latin American population. Okay. Yes, a blog can work. Of course it can work. You don't have to be a dual blogger podcast or a dual blogger YouTuber. It doesn't have to be done that way. There are so few good blogs today. People are starved for good blogs. How many million times must I say that? People today are starved for good blogs. So why would you need to do a podcast? Why would you need to do a YouTube series when people are starved for good blogs? Nobody's starved for YouTube content. It's abundant. Podcasts, there's a lot of great podcasts as well. Of those three methods, the blog is the least utilized and the most ready for opportunity. So no, you do not have to do a second or third avenue. If you want to be a blogger, be a blogger. He also asks, will selling an ebook work in a Latin American population? Well, I get a lot of sales from Brazil. I get sales from India. I get sales from places you wouldn't really think that people buy ebooks. So I would say don't assume what people will buy in your neighborhood. Test it. Release an ebook and see if people actually do buy it or don't. And then you will know for sure. So instead of speculating, you'll be able to know for sure. Octavio asks, why must every answer in life be extreme? Well, that's not true. Most answers in life are the opposite of extreme. Most answers in life are go with the flow, don't think outside the box, don't make waves, just do what everybody else is doing. However, if you want more in life, yes, you must be extreme. Everybody who succeeds does so because they did something extreme. If you want to not succeed, don't be extreme. Do what everybody else does. But being extreme is the way that you succeed. So every answer in life is not extreme. Every answer about success is extreme. And that's for a very good reason. Most people actually don't want success because they're not willing to be extreme. They're not willing to step outside the lines. So simple as that. John Miklo asks, Uncle Vic, are there any exercises that are performed with or without weights that you will advise men and women to avoid due to the possibility of injury? Yeah, I would suggest avoiding all Olympic weightlifting. Over the years, it seems extremely apparent to me that Olympic weightlifting, such as the clean and press, the snatch, the jerk, these exercises serve no practical value unless you are an Olympic lifter. If you're a bodybuilder, an athlete or something, these exercises serve no value, but they're very difficult to get right. So I would suggest avoiding all Olympic lifts because they do absolutely nothing for you. They don't add muscle. They don't add strength. They add only a possibility of getting injured. That's all they're good for, is the possibility of getting injured. And there's no reason to do them. There are much better exercises. So I would suggest avoiding all Olympic lifts unless you are an Olympic lifter. Gerasimos asks, hey Vic, today we have a thing in Greece called shikanpanpati. Maybe I'm not saying that right. Everybody in the city is out on the roads grilling meat and partying. I went out to film a martial arts class and started feeling like an idiot when seeing all the people having fun while I was doing serious work. I know I'm doing the right thing for the long term, but I cannot understand why do I feel like the loser in this scenario. That is a great question, but it is you who feel like a loser, so you can just decide to not feel like a loser because you know that you are doing something for your own future. Those people, yeah, they're out there having fun. They're grilling meat, having a good time, drinking beers, having a party. Yeah, that's fun. But are they building their future? Are they preparing for tomorrow? No, they're not. They're having a good time today, but they're not preparing for tomorrow. You are doing the smart thing. What you are doing is called sacrifice. You are sacrificing a good time today so that you can have a better time tomorrow. And that's what those people are not doing. They're living for the moment, having a good time. That's great. That's fine. That's dandy. When you are a success, guess what they're going to say? Oh, you're so lucky. You're so lucky. Well, luck had nothing to do with it. Sacrifice had everything to do with it. Jennifer asks, Mr. Pride, in a year I will be 20 years old, the prime age for a woman to marry. How do I make sure to attract an ass kicker instead of a sissy loser? I want to be sure to be able to give a man all of my best years, as you said. So how do I find a husband sooner rather than later? Sorry to bother you. I wanted to send this for a while, but I'm pretty shy. Ooh, that's a great question, a real great question. What do you say we cover that in the next episode of the Bold and Determined podcast? We will answer this young lady's question about how to find a great husband. And until then, my friendly friends, have a nice day.